Feels official. Welcome, everybody. Would like to call the Board of Governors meeting to order. Note that we do have a quorum. And before we go through the agenda, I just first want to thank everyone for all your time, talent, energy since the last meeting. We spent a lot of time together in training session and other meetings. So thank you, and thank you for being here again today. So the next item on the agenda is to approve the prior minutes of 3 meetings. All that under one action item. All the minutes have been provided to you by mail or email in the portal, and we entertain any motion relative to approving those minutes. We have a motion by Dr. D'Antoni. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Dunn-Dion. Any further discussion? None. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Carries. Now we will move to an exciting presentation from Dr. Sean Schillenberg, Chair of the Faculty Senate. It's always a treat to have him, so thank you.
Thank you. Exciting. Wow.
Yeah.
I'll try to live up to that. Thank you, Chairman Shields, members of the board, and President Smith. Thank you for inviting me here today. This is an annual thing. Jeff comes visit the Faculty Senate once a year, and I come give an address to the board. And this is my 4th and final address as Faculty Senate Chair. We've elected the new Senate, and they'll be electing a new chair come June 30th as I run away to a sabbatical somewhere far away for a little bit. With the spring in the air, I hope you don't mind if I talk about gardening for a minute. I think it'll be the best use of our time up here. So as we think about gardening, one can go about creating and maintaining a garden in a number of ways, but it always requires making a lot of decisions. What to plant, where, how much space each plant gets, what receives careful trimming, tending, fertilizer, and what's left to the sun and the water alone. But before any of that, before the first seed goes into the ground, a garden requires something even more fundamental, a purpose. Why a garden and why this garden? Some gardens are grown for yield, maximum production from every available row. Measure what comes out, optimize inputs, and make decisions accordingly. It's an honest and disciplined way to tend to a garden. Some are grown for the community, planted not for what they produce or yield, but for what they provide. Tangentially, shade, beauty, a place where people can come and think and breathe. The value is real, but isn't easily captured in measuring a single harvest. Some gardens are grown for preservation, rare varieties, slow-growing things whose value isn't what they produce this season, but what they carry forward. Lose them and you might not get them back. The greatest gardens aspire to do all of these at once. And that complexity is what makes them genuinely hard to tend well. The soil you optimize for one yield is not always the soil that supports the rarest plants. The row that produces the most is not always the row that the community needs the most at that time. And every garden is finite. Finite soil, finite water, finite fertilizer, finite time and attention. Every decision about what goes to tend is also a decision about what to tend to less. Good data can tell you what is growing, but it cannot not always tell you what is worth growing. That requires something harder to quantify. Judgment about what the garden is for and what it would be a loss to stop being able to grow. Before you can make good decisions about a garden, you have to be honest about what you believe it is for. I spent 16 years of my career here at Marshall University, playing in a particular kind of complicated garden. We are a Kearney R2 public institution in the heart of Appalachia, asked to do many things. All of them seriously, and our impact matters. We are asked to offer an education that is genuinely broad, undergraduate, graduate, professional, prepare our students to think, learn, work, and live in a world that keeps changing. Not just to train for a job that exists today, but to develop a person who can navigate what comes next in 20 years. We are asked to maintain a dynamic intellectual, artistic, and cultural life, to support research and creative work that doesn't always have immediate application, because knowledge has value beyond its nearest use. We are asked to contribute directly to the life and quality of the community in this region through applied research, healthcare, economic development, the kind of cultural enrichment that makes us a place worth living in. We are asked to foster and appreciate diverse thought and culture, to be a place that models what a pluralistic community can and should look like, one that celebrates difference rather than tolerating it. We are asked to do something that our creed names directly, to defend individual rights and exercise civic responsibility. to develop in students not just competence, but conscience. Not just skills, but the habits of mind that a healthy democracy depend on: independence of thought, ethical integrity, a commitment to community that extends beyond personal gain. This is an enormous task, as we all know. All of it is asked of the same garden, on the same ground, the same finite resources, and in our case, it felt like shrinking resources in the past decade. In this environment, not every plant can have everything it needs, which means decisions about what to tend to and what to tend to less are never just operational decisions. They're decisions about what we believe this garden is for. And those decisions have consequences. For most of Marshall's history, those decisions were made by many hands, often without much central guidance. Faculty and staff spent careers understanding what grows in the soil, what the region needs, and what questions are worth pursuing, even when the answers are slow to come. People who cultivated the same rows across generations, accumulating a kind of knowledge that doesn't appear in any single document, in intimacy with the work and the place that takes a long time to develop. This produced something real: depth, variety, a genuine intellectual range. Programs rooted not just in what the moment demanded, but what the people had come to believe was worth knowing and worth teaching. Parts of it intended to, although maybe not all in a great way. But it also clearly had its limits. While financially stable, the garden could keep expanding without obvious consequences. New plants would appear in new places because someone wanted to grow them. New roads developed because there was no compelling reason to say no. The result is a garden that had spread well beyond what it could sustain, not through recklessness, but through the quiet accumulation of reasonable decisions made when the balance sheet was stable. Eventually, that balance sheet was not so stable. Shrinking resources spread across too many rows. Programs that deserved real investment were getting just enough to survive. Others that served a little public good, and maybe only one or two students in them, received the same resources as those flourishing. The garden wasn't dying, but it wasn't thriving either, and the credit card was about to stop working. What the board chose to do at that moment really mattered. The easiest path would have been to clear large sections, the kind of swift, blunt cuts that have left other institutions diminished and demoralized. Instead, this board chose the harder work, to tend more deliberatively to the same ground, to concentrate resources to invest in what could grow without tearing at any of the garden's roots. That choice took shape as a strategic plan developed under President Smith's guidance through genuine shared governance. Faculty, staff, students, alums, the administration, the community, and this board all worked together to build it. It was made collaboratively, carefully, with the good kind of conversation institutions should strive for. This became our plan. And what has followed has, by honest measure, been extraordinary. Marshall is close to closing a structural deficit that threatened our institution's future. The Marshall for All program is eliminating student loan debt, making the university accessible to people who could not have imagined being here. Graduate placement, funded research, a prosperity platform beginning to change what it means to build a life in this state. The Idea District is rising west of campus, creating an innovation ecosystem people once would have said not possible in Huntington. We are facing higher education's headwinds with grit and resolve and succeeding by every measure we are measuring. These achievements didn't happen despite shared governance. They happened because. But to be honest, this does have me thinking a little bit about this.
You can mute those attending.
All right. To be honest, though, this has me thinking a little bit about the soil. Soil is the part of the garden that changes slowly and most invisibly if you don't measure it or don't measure it well. You don't notice it shifting. And eventually, years later, you may notice that certain things don't grow the way they're used to. And by then, the conditions have been different for a long time. It will no longer be able to nurture everything in the same way. What shapes soil in a university is what we constantly reward. What we fund, what we measure, what we treat as evidence of success. And others we leave to the sun and the rain. When we are honest about what we measure, most of what we track here currently is yield, enrollment, retention, graduation rates, placement, research dollars. These measures deserve genuine praise because each one of them is a real student's life who is different because of this institution. Enrollment means we opened the door. Retention means we kept faith with the student who walked through it. Graduation means we delivered on our promise. Placement means that promise had real consequences in the world. These are not bureaucratic abstractions. They are evidence that we are fulfilling our obligations to the people and the region we serve to exist. But our mission might be slightly broader than yield. It always has been. When yield becomes the dominant measure of success, the soil gradually shifts to support it, not through any decision to abandon the other purposes, the ones that are less difficult to measure, but because what gets measured gets tended, and what doesn't get measured gets left to sun and water alone. It happens without intention. It happens because this is what metrics do. They focus attention, and focus over time reshapes the ground. The things that are hardest to measure are often the last to appear on any dashboard, and the first to be lost without anyone deciding to lose them. The cultivation of a genuinely open community, one that protects freedom of thought and belief, not just in policy, but in practice. The development of a judicious community, one that remains alert to hatred and intolerance and prepared to correct them. The slow work of becoming a civil community, one that engages disagreement rationally, treats difference with decency, and models for students what it looks like to hold a view and still respect the person who holds another. The development of judgment, not just skill, the ability to produce answers, not just produce answers, but to evaluate them, decide what matters, what is missing, and what is worth trusting. The preparation of a life, not just a career, the habits of mind that independent citizenship requires. Some of these things might not disappear suddenly if they're not measured, but they might thin gradually, imperceptibly over time, like a kind of plant that takes years to show stress right up until it doesn't recover. Our mission commits us to advancing the public good through education. Our creed asks us to be all at once an educational community, an open community, a civil community, a pluralistic community, a socially conscious community, and a judicious community. That is a vision of a university, something that is more than just a diploma factory and a workforce pipeline, as real and urgent as these obligations are. It is a vision of a place that aspires, in our own words, to inspire learning and creativity that ignites the mind, nurtures the spirit, and fulfills the promise of a better future. So we are not just preparing our students for placement, but for their future lives. And so this is what we're here to cultivate. Not just the yield that the metrics can easily measure, but the knowledge, judgment, civic capacity, and human flourishing that have always been at the heart of what a university is for. Most of which resist meaningful counting, and for that reason requires something metrics alone cannot provide. All of it together tended with care in the same finite garden. It has been my honor to serve in this role as part of this institution, to work with this board for several years in the administration. And I look forward to seeing what we continue to cultivate here that will outlast any single season or any single measure of success. Thank you.
Thank you for those remarks. Thank you for that perspective. Thank you for your work the last 4 years as chair of faculty senate. I know that's a lot of work. Appreciate all you've done. I think we've had a great relationship with the board so thank you. We will move on to committee reports now, starting with Kathy D'Antoni, Chair of the Academic and Student Affairs Committee.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to start the report with the recognition of one of our esteemed faculty. We have with us today Dr. Jacob Jared Balluri. If you would like to come to the front while I talk about you. He is a faculty in biological science, and along with Dr. Pierre Claudio from the School of Medicine, they developed a precision oncology diagnostic tool. That is a tool that doctors can use to prioritize treatment for different types of cancer. The ChemoID is approved chemotherapies to identify which drug are the most effective for their patient. Just recently, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration reviewed the clinical data and granted ChemoID breakthrough device designation, recognizing that its potential can significantly improve care for patients facing lethal brain cancer. We are honored to have you here today. If you'd like to say something.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. D'Antoni and Dr. Buchwalter. I appreciate this opportunity to present this achievement in front of you. And this is a product of our translational oncology work that we've done at TGRI. This is the first bench to clinic diagnostic that has been clinically validated by multi-institutional trials that involve a lot of NCI cancer centers, especially in recurrent glioblastoma, which is a very lethal form of brain cancer, where the life expectancy is no more than 6 to 9 months. Our targeted approach of guiding therapy as helping the neuro-oncologist to provide 4.5 months benefit to these patients and also increase their progression-free survival by guiding this therapy using this unique tool that we call ChemoID that targets what we call the cancer stem cells, which are the drivers of many of these tumor metastases and recurrence and so on. And in our platinum-resistant ovarian cancer, we have done a similar study, again, that was headed by Dr. Thomas Herzog from University of Cincinnati. He's the president of the current GOG. And this trial also proved to be very successful. And in platinum resistance, as we call it, when a ovarian cancer relapses after 6 months on platinum, there are no other options for these patients. And the disease is pretty fatal. And so even in these cases, we were able to optimize therapy. We're able to provide benefit for these patients, and patients have over 10.5 months progression-free survival. All of this data has been published in Tier 1 journals, Nature Precision Oncology, Cell Reports Medicine, and it's caught the attention of, this data was presented to the FDA, and FDA reviewed this data after intense scrutiny, and they granted this technology a breakthrough device designation for faster Medicare coverage. And also the criteria for this is it has to help change the practice, clinical practice. And so this is truly an honor for the research that's being done at Marshall in collaboration with Cabell, our oncologists, our basic science, and the TGRI. So I'm really, really proud to be a part of this effort. And additionally, recently we got the attention of a major diagnostic AI-driven precision medicine company called Tempus AI. And they want to support this program on a 2-year basis through their nonprofit, primarily to further evaluate this technology. And so I brought this opportunity to President Smith about a couple of weeks ago, and he has presented this to Scott Drains, our CEO at Cabell, and also to Larry Dial. So we had a conversation just this morning, and hopefully it is my hope. I've been here for 36 years, and I can honestly say we've been talking about research-based economic activity for the longest time. And this is the very first product, I can honestly tell you, that we brought from bench to clinic. And this is protected by patents that are Marshall. So this is a patented technology, two US patents and 1 European patent. And of course, my colleague who was here, Dr. Claudio, he's now moved on to a different institution. But this truly shows how basic science and our med school faculty, along with their residents here, can benefit if we could bring a major player. And it is my hope that we will one day have a precision medicine center here at Marshall as a part of the IDEA district and make Edwards Cancer Center to attract more patients who are looking for solutions. I think this is how patients are. I get about 5 to 10 emails a month asking is ChemoID still being offered at Cabell, so that these patients require hope, and that's what we are providing hope. Patients want to live even 2 months, 5 months, they want to live longer. I've met so many patients along the way in the tumor boards and represented, and I even shared with Dr. Smith, President Smith, a patient testimonial of a 19-year-old brain cancer patient whom we kept alive for 5 years, inoperable brainstem. He had undergone 2 chemoIDs, and we gave him some hope. So I'm really very happy to be here today and at least share this success, our institutional success, because I truly believe in Marshall, and I just hope we move forward and bring more things to our region and home to cancer patients. Thank you.
Wow.
That's pretty powerful. Thank
Wow.
you.
Right.
We're very
Thank you,
proud
Dr.
as on Marshall's board to hear that story that you're very proud of. So, thank you.
We have one action item from our committee.
All right.
It's approval of revisions to the Board of Governors Rule Number AAA6, faculty classification, types and conditions of appointment, ranks, promotion, tenure, dismissal for cause, resignation, and emeritus status. Basically, you took a number of rules, combined them into one rule. It's more efficient, more effective. We're asked the board to approve that action.
Okay. There is a resolution to the board that Kathy described, and I think was unanimously approved in the committee
Yes.
meeting this morning. So, are there any questions of Kathy? If not, we'll entertain a motion to approve. By Bishop Moore. Is there a second? Second by Kathy Eddy. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
And the provost report, Dr. Whitwalker.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you on this beautiful day. Weather getting better. I start to feel better. Let me start by once again congratulating Dr. McCleary and research partners on the significant achievements. We were talking a little bit earlier about how every time I go through our provost report, which is submitted by the deans and by each of the units, I find gems of work that are being done by our faculty, our students, our staff, and I'm proud to be able to pick and choose some things from the longer report to highlight now. Thank you for the prompt, Brad. I want to start with the fact that we had our Higher Learning Commission visit. You know, we talked a lot about this in December and January, that we had an accreditation visit with our Higher Learning Commission team, and that big freeze that came at the end of January, we had to put that off. Well, they were here on campus last week on Monday and Tuesday, and we had a very successful visit. And there are still some steps in the process. They're going to submit a report to the larger board, and we will get some response from that later. But the feedback that we got while the team was here was very encouraging. They were grateful for the thoroughness and the comprehensive set of data and links and the evidence that were in our report. I want to once again thank Susan Tussing for taking the lead on preparing that report. It was a 2-year effort or 3-year effort on her part to put all this information together. And I want to thank the faculty, the staff, the members of the board, the members of the cabinet, all of the folks on campus who went to multiple meetings over a 2-day period to share their perspective, to answer the questions of the team. We're very encouraged by the results of the team leader as she met with Brad towards the end of that session. So that is well underway, and we expect to have a reasonably positive result from that. We have also finished our interviews with the COLA Dean candidates, and we'll be meeting fairly soon to narrow down those choices to find out who we think is really the right fit for Marshall University and the College of Liberal Arts. And so I'll be able to report on that the next time we have a meeting. There'll be an announcement reasonably soon. I want to highlight a few things that happened across the campus. One of them being the 5th annual Marshall University Student Research and Creativity Symposium, which was held last week on the 1st and the 2nd, where we had over 150 students who had engaged in significant research projects, giving poster and research presentations and showcasing their contributions to new bodies of knowledge in their various disciplines. We also hosted, the Institute for Cybersecurity hosted CyberCon 2026, bringing together cybersecurity professionals, students, and educators government leaders and industry partners to address real-world cyber threats through applied learning and collaboration. Retired General Keith Alexander, the former director of the National Security Agency, was a featured speaker, and it's always an honor to have national and international leaders come to campus and share their perspective with our students, our faculty, and with the community at large. Near and dear to my heart is the Thundering Word speech and debate team, which had a successful trip to the national championship, the National Pi Kappa Delta National Tournament. They came in 10th in the country as debaters in that national championship tournament. And I want to mention Joshua Hardesty, who's a biomedical engineering senior. He took 5th place speaker, the 5th best speaker at that tournament, and Mason Wheeler, who is a computer science senior, who took 7th place at the tournament. So the members of the speech and debate team come from colleges all across campus, and they're seeing great success. More great success by WMUL-FM students who won Best Newscast and JMC-TV Best Comedy Program at the Intercollegiate Broadcasting System New York City 26 Awards this year. Faculty in the College of Engineering and Computer Science published multiple research publications, 4 publications by faculty in the college, and an additional 4 publications by by students in the College of Engineering. In the College of Education and Professional Development, the counseling program was reaccredited with the Council of Accreditation for Counseling and Related Educational Programs. They hosted the 49th Annual Appalachian Studies Conference, which was the largest conference ever by that program. The conference had a record-breaking number of sessions, 254 sessions, and over 1,000 participants. And the Imagination Library, which you know is a project by Dolly Parton, and she was here not too long ago to launch that effort. They have delivered an astounding 146,000 books in the past 3 months to children throughout the state of West Virginia. And this thanks to the work of the June Harless Center and the College of Education. Those books were distributed all across the state. And each one of those books has a Marshall M on it. So we're going to recruit all those youngsters to be new Marshall students. And I told Brad we're going to need to build some new dorms or do something to, make sure they have some room here. In the College of Health Professions, the Doctor of Physical Therapy program has reached full cohort capacity. They've taken all of the students that they can take into their program. And they had 6 student and faculty poster presentations at the National American Physical Therapy Association meeting in Anaheim in February. In the College of Liberal Arts, Dr. Laura Michelle Diener and several students, including Charles Dameron IV, Elijah Kaiser, Dylan Ewing, Levi Kunz, and Noah Brendamore, participated in a West Virginia Public Broadcasting documentary entitled Always Free, Mountaineers in the Revolution. So look to West Virginia PBS, watch that documentary Always Free, and you'll see prominently displayed Marshall faculty and students telling the story of West Virginians. Also in the College of Liberal Arts, Adam Whitehair, who is a senior majoring in history, was named as a Herndon Fellow with the West Virginia Senate, a prestigious internship where he worked in the Senate for the most recent legislative session. It is a competitive statewide fellowship, and we're proud to have Marshall students selected for that program. In the College of Science, Chemo ID, Dr. Valuri and his partner, Dr. Claudio, were recognized for important reasons that we just heard about. And the Society of Physics Students Marshall chapter was named the outstanding chapter by the National Council of the Society of Physics Students. In the Division of Aviation, they have launched a community licensing program and an advanced FAA certified virtual reality training, which probably would make me dizzy if I got in there. But in any case, they're expanding their offerings and their trainings in the Division of Aviation. And for the 4th year in a row, aircraft manufacturer Embraer has sponsored 7 of our aviation students to attend the Women in Aviation Conference, which was held in Dallas, Texas last month. In the Lewis College of Business, the Master of Accountancy student achieved a 100% pass rate on tax compliance and planning and information system and control, they outperformed the national average by 25%. And the Lewis College of Business also celebrated 3 distinguished local leaders as part of the class of 2026 of the Business Hall of Fame, which is a wonderful ceremony. I had the privilege of attending. Celebration was held on March 28th. And who did we celebrate? Commodore Tony Martin, Louis Weisberg, and our own favorite First Lady, Elise Smith. The School of Pharmacy, the graduates achieved a perfect 100% pass rate on the multi-state pharmacy jurisprudence exam. I kept trying to practice that. That 100% pass rate, of course, is #1 nationally, and they had a 92% pass rate on the North American Pharmacists Licensure Examination, which was a top 10 finish. So our students are performing extremely well as they approach the end of their careers in those programs. University libraries worked on an open textbook initiative, which saved students $250,000 annually by creating free course materials for those students. In the Center for Student Success, they supported 527 students through various student study groups and learning hubs and achieved a 96 to 98% retention and success rate with some of our most challenged students. We heard a report from the Division of Student Affairs highlighting the Robotics Club being in the World Championship, the Counseling Center, which is serving 78 students, which is a 50% increase over where we were last year. So there are more students in need, but also more capacity to serve those students. And our Office of Accessibility and Accommodations is moving to a bigger site from Pritchard Hall into East Hall. Again, partly because there's a greater student need, but certainly we're giving them better facilities and more room to work. So we're appreciative of that. In online education, we are launching a 3-year university-wide online course review process because we want to make sure that all of our online classes are state-of-the-art and up to speed. And so we're going to run 1/3 of all our online programs are going to be vetted and approved and assessed against criteria for the best possible online classes. We'll do a second third next year and the other third. So we'll have a 3-year rotation of making sure that all of our online offerings are achieving the level of excellence that we would expect from a Marshall education. And let me finish by saying we heard 2 excellent reports. One from University College, which serves our incoming students, military students. It offers the RBA program. It houses the Bachelor of Applied Science program. There are hundreds of students in that program, and they provide focused support for those students in specialized programs, or particularly those undecided students who first arrive. And there's enhanced advising, there's cohort-based learning. There are a variety of supports so that the students who come to us and maybe are a little more uncertain or undecided or are coming back after a long hiatus from college, that they have the kind of services from Marshall University that are going to help them adjust to college in the first place, or readjust and succeed and be able to make it to graduation. Absolutely what we want is for every student who arrives here, is accepted here, and we bring them into the Marshall family, we want them across the finish line in the future, whether the finish line is 2 years away or 3 years away or more. And we heard a report from the Office of Career Education, Chris McDavid, who's doing a fantastic job helping the students as they transition out of Marshall University and into careers. And she spoke about a wide variety of programs in which we are trying to help those students find jobs, locate, even while they're here, to engage in internships, to do job shadowing, the sorts of things that will prepare them for a successful transition into the work world, and then working on gathering the kind of data that we need to track them so that when we start talking about ROI and think about the benefits that a Marshall education provides as you go into your first and second year, and we had a discussion about how we can extend that to the 5th, 10th, 20th year post-graduation, that we can track all those successful Marshall graduates and establish the value of a Marshall education. Big questions if you
Questions? Football? I want to say, as I remarked to the faculty senate, this is always my favorite. And it's quite amazing. And I think to borrow a metaphor, our gardens keep blooming and getting bigger. And so I appreciate all the work all your team does and throughout the academic staff. So thank you.
Appreciate that.
Student representative update by Connor Wallace.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, I'll start as always, thanking you all for the opportunity to speak today. I am going to keep today's remarks rather brief, but I do have several updates I'd like to share. First of all, during the last meeting, I spoke on the February food fights that we were participating in with the other Sun Belt Conference institutions. So during the course of that month, we successfully collected nearly 2,000 items, $300, and that $300 goes directly to support food insecurity initiatives here on campus. With the collection of those 2,000 items, SGA was able to host a pop-up food pantry the week before spring break, serving those students on campus before the dining services would be closed for that following week. With that, we served nearly 100 students. And then additionally, we are very grateful, thanks to a generous donor, we are going to be able to purchase more food alongside Dr. Marcy Sims to host another one of these pop-up pantries prior to the end of the semester during finals week. In addition to that, the month of March, SGA partnered with the Women's Center to help as they celebrated their 50th anniversary. In that, we helped them facilitate a collection of period products, and that also turned out very successful. On April 22nd, we will be partnering with Community Service and Family Programs to host a Her Day of Service. We did this in the fall prior to the fountain ceremony to prepare the Student Center for that. This time, we will be working with the Sustainability Department, the thrift store, and once again, the Student Center to work on several pre-planned projects. And then finally, this month, SGA held its elections, and I am proud to announce that the next student body president at Marshall University will be Alyssa Davis, who currently serves as student body vice president, and she will be joined in the student body vice president role by Jimmy John Jacob Jr., or Jays. So first, I want to express to you, as always, my appreciation for the support you've given me in this leadership role over the last year. I'm not going to go into my sappy remarks, as I do have one more meeting, and I will make sure I do that next time. So with that, I'll close, and thank you all for another chance to speak.
And the School of Medicine update with Dr. David Salk.
Good afternoon. It becomes increasingly difficult to beat those that precede me, so I'll try to be as brief as possible. As part of the report from the School of Medicine, the first good news, and really with the help of President Smith and many, many others involved in a long and difficult campaign to foster the concept of a new medical education building for the medical school. We had the pleasure and honor to host U.S. Senator Shelley Moore Capito on February 19th to announce the attribution of almost $32 million towards the campaign to build a new medical education building. That was followed by a wonderful match gift from the state for $30 million, which put us 2/3 into the capital budget that will be necessary to complete that project. Now, the rest is really for us to continue, and I have prepared a nice collection, so please take your checks out. We look forward to the opportunity of not only do as much philanthropic effort as we can, but also continue in our work to seek and convince of the unique value that a medical school and attraction of top-notch students to West Virginia represents for the state as value for many, many years to come. Part of that, we are not fully aware of the need for training in our rural areas. And as you well know from previous presentations, we were the first and only one program in rural surgery that exists in the country. As part of that, federal support was secured at Logan Hospital and in Logan to house our residents during their rotations there. They spent half of the time at Logan, half of the time here at Cabell and St. Mary's, and therefore it is necessary. The housing problem there is quite acute. And this facility really was achieved through a huge partnership with everybody that led to a grant, and will be able to not only bring individuals that want to train in rural areas, but also to secure their potential continuation and continue serving in rural areas as they get close to their completion of their training, which is long, 5 to 6 years. And so therefore, this requires quite a bit of effort in the long term. As part of the specialty training, our graduate students, our medical students, are about to graduate, with commencement being very soon in May. But before that, they go through the anxiety-provoking match day. And this year was no exception. 82 of our fourth-year medical students for the class of 2026 went through match day. And you will see that we had a 96% match rate. But I have a good surprise. The 4% that we're missing have now matched as well. So we have 100% match. Now, the important part of the vision which this medical school was established is to go to foster primary care and to foster also people staying for residency training in West Virginia, since we know that about 50 to 60% of those who are already trained in West Virginia will remain for their careers in West Virginia. And you can see that our numbers continue to be very high relative to many of the other primary schools. 41 of our students, 41% matched into primary care, and another 41% will remain in West Virginia by getting into training programs within West Virginia programs. On our side of postgraduate, we are extremely pleased that, again, for the fourth year in a row, we have matched all of our programs, 100% match rate. So bringing graduating students from all over the US and the world in order to train in our 15 residency programs, including the first class of anesthesia residency, which filled with 4 students, outstanding students coming from both Marshall and from other really highly solicited programs. Our residents and fellows will start on July 1st, and before that we'll go through a very, very difficult training for 2 weeks of being orientated and prepared for the tough life of being a resident for the next several years. I wanted to emphasize one of student, Renate Reutenberg, is an outstanding MD PhD student who will graduate this year. He has decided to match in internal medicine, but the important thing is that he will complete also his PhD at the same time in translational science, and his work is really a very wonderful work on focus on COVID and clotting. And as you know, clotting phenomena that are not desirable can lead to sudden death, whether it's stroke or pulmonary embolus or other features. And Renate has found very significant associations that a previous infection with COVID may lead to an increased risk. And so we can do today relatively accurate prediction of who is at risk, and therefore identify individuals that may need to be most closely monitored in order to prevent this from occurring. On a similar note, an additional faculty at the Department of Biomedical Sciences, Dr. Wei Li, has just published a wonderful study looking at COVID and the increased risk of cancer, lung cancer. And he has demonstrated that this is indeed the case. It's very recent. 2 days ago, the paper was accepted in a top journal. And the important part is it has also identified a unique mechanism that explains this unique propensity of individuals infected with COVID to potentially be at risk, particularly if you have a history of smoking or are a current smoker. So more to come on this when you get some of the updates. We have 2 leadership appointments that we would like to share. One, Dr. Kiblawi, Isham Kiblawi, will take the position of interim chair in the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology as a temporary measure, while Dr. David Jude, who served for many years as our chair, decided to slow down a little bit and continue his educational and clinical activities, but only as a part-time. So Dr. Kiblawi has graciously accepted the position until the national search takes place, and we fill that position with a candidate. Meantime, Dr. Rita Ryan will be joining us as the new chair of pediatrics. Dr. Ryan I've known her for many, many years, is, as I am, a neonatologist, and she specializes in lung biology. She has a very distinguished track record in translational medicine, doing developmental lung biology as part of her research, funded by NIH, but also as a program director for neonatology fellowship and previously a department chair at another university. So she brings a whole array of expertise, both in research, education, as well as in clinical work. And I believe that she, as well as administrative experience, which will be cardinal to continue developing not only our department of pediatrics, but also of children, and give it a little bit more of a preeminence within the region and beyond. We have, as part of the pillars of excellence enunciated by President Smith, aging is one of them. We all don't want to age, but sometimes it's inevitable, as you can see. But we have an RFP on our request for applications for grants that will study aging in different capacities. This year, these small grants that we concede to faculty or others within the university received a total of 12 applications. This is the highest number of applications that we've ever received. We, based on an external advisory committee constituted by scientists and well-established investigators elsewhere as consultants, we have decided on funding 3. You can see the titles of these in the report. But of importance, they have to do for several areas, such as pancreatic beta cell fate in obesity and aging related to metabolic disease, one aging and lung cancer, and then GeriNet, which is an AI-based project to identify West Virginia residents, those at higher risk for cognitive decline, a very important facet of aging. Two additional elements to point out in research. One, Dr. Trupti Joshi, who joined us almost a year ago to assume the role of Senior Associate Dean for Health Informatics and Bioinformatics, has developed, along with several scientists in her group, an extraordinarily powerful AI-based machine learning predictive analytic, where she can take multi-omic technology, combine it with electronic medical record, and enable predictive analytics that allow for precision of one patient prediction for specific disease and how to treat them and manage them in the best possible way. This is now being adapted to multiple facets through Marshall Health Network with other collaborations across other states. And with Intermet Labs, in collaboration with Intermet Labs, another initiative led by President Smith, Dr. Heather Pinkard-Dover, one of our neurosurgeons, has developed a new technology to implement better targeting of deep brain stimulation in order to achieve the maximal and optimal results in the treatment of Parkinson's disease and other disorders. So we hope to see this be not only tested here as the initial phase, but then be spread across multiple centers in the country. Every year, for several years now, we are doing quality assessments and quality training. And this year we had the 13th annual Quality Improvement and Patient Safety Summit. We had the wonderful presence of a nationally recognized leader, Dr. Amanda Leonard from the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, who gave an outstanding presentation. And there were more than 47 projects led by our residents and students focused on elements of quality and safety in our healthcare system. Then two celebratory, maybe important. Dr. Larry Dial, our Chief Physician Executive at the Vice Dean for Clinical Affairs, was inducted into the West Virginia Healthcare Hall of Fame. This obviously is a recognition of his major contributions over many years of very hard work. And obviously, we also had 2 other graduates, Dr. Michael Kilkenny, who is the director of the public health department here in Huntington, as well as Dr. Greg Rosenkrantz. Both of them were elected as well to the Hall of Fame. Our newest department chair, Dr. of Internal Medicine, Dr. Jennifer Nanderhan, presented an outstanding lecture at the West Virginia Chamber of Women's Summit, which is not only so well received that she's been asked to give that lecture yet again at other venues because of the unique impact of how to take care of yourself as a physician, such that you do not succumb to burnout, a major problem that afflicts between 40 to 60% of our physicians through the course of their professional careers. And then Marco, it always has to be everywhere. And so we do that by taking Marco's bus and giving it and providing care to a variety of other sites. The most recent activities had to do with the hard hats and heroes. And one that is very close to my heart is the medical outreach, which is led by our students, where we provide to homeless and others, people that need care. We provide them with access to health care. And Marco's bus did its job by providing really an outstanding opportunity and world-class access to diagnostics and treatment. We have a project that has been now in several years that we call the Project Pre-Med. These are students from underserved communities in the region, in the neighboring states as well. We select a small group that comes and spend 2 weeks with us in order to, these are undergraduate students from several colleges, who come and then spend time with us to understand what Marshall School of Medicine can do for them and what a medical career can offer them. And our next program will start in July 12th. So for those of you who are interested, there are 2 elements that I'd like to bring. All of the other events are there, but one, if you feel like golfing and you like to golf, I know Mr. Shields that you're an expert golfer, so I would like to invite you.
Incorrect.
Yes, the School of Medicine Golf Classic usually brings very, very inept individuals, and I'm sure that
That's more like it.
And we have, of course, on May 8th, the investiture and hooding ceremony for the School of Medicine graduation, as well as the physician assistant graduation on the same day. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now we will move on to the Finance, Audit, and Facilities Planning Committee. Kathy Eddy is chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to start by giving a little bit of history about the process. On Monday, we spent a 3-hour, the Finance Committee was specifically there, but we also invited the whole board to spend 3 hours with a deep dive into the decisions that were made relative to how we got to the tuition and fees budget that you're going to see here in a minute. We discussed, and the whole cabinet was there, so we heard from everybody and their process in getting to where we were, what we heard about on that day. We talked about gross students and not fees. The team talked about that. They talked about invest in our team. They talked about taking care of the house and managing our strategic resources. So these are all things that we have heard about here at this board, but there was a deep dive on that Monday for 3 hours. And then this morning in the Finance Committee, we had a deep dive again and went through some of those same issues and reasons for how we are and where we are. And so Matt, I'd like Matt to come up then and just tell the board a bit about how we got here and what's important, and then talk about what we're proposing.
Thank you, Kathy, for that important context. So yes, we've spent some time this week really going over all the details of the FY27 budget. So with that, I will hit some of the high points. Kathy mentioned our enduring financial principles, and those continue to drive our budget decisions for this upcoming fiscal year. We talk about growing students and not fees. We've assumed a 2.5% tuition increase for our resident students, and I'll touch on more on our tuition structure when we do that agenda item. And we're holding our non-resident international metro students flat for fiscal year 27. We're assuming a 1% increase in our enrollment for fall 26 compared to fall of 25. And then we've also made some strategic investments in our budget to make sure that happens. When we talk about investing in our team, included in this year's budget are market equity adjustments of approximately $550,000. That will get the entire campus to the competitive market range, and will also bring everyone on campus up to at least $14 an hour if they're an hourly fee. In addition, the state of West Virginia provided a $2.2 million funding pool, so we will be rolling out our raise structure after approval by the board later this month. Continue to take care of the house in fiscal year 27. We have finalized 19 shock and awe projects, and we're advancing the idea district, and we have a few more projects to go with the shock and awe as well. When we talk about managing our strategic resources, we continue to refine budget and our cash flow forecasting. So the net result for this year, for the fiscal year 27 budget, is a $2.9 million deficit. That includes $4.2 million growth in revenue and 4.2% growth in revenue and 2.1% growth in our expense structure, leading to our deficit this year. Again, the board has heard all this in much more detail, but more than happy to answer any further questions.
The Finance Committee did approve this to be brought to the board for approval.
So the recommended action is to, for the Marshall University Board of Governors, approve the Marshall University budget for fiscal year 2026, 2027. In that regard, I'll entertain a motion. So moved by Kathy D'Antoni. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jim Smith. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
So then on to tuition and fees. The interesting thing about this, of course, is that the tuition and fees were approved, were just approved in that budget we just passed. But nevertheless, statutorily, we have to, as a board, approve the tuition and fees that we're going to charge in the next year. So, Matt.
Thanks, Kathy. Again, we are asking for the approval of the fiscal year 27 tuition fee rate schedule. That university is proposing an overall 2.5% increase to undergraduate and graduate resident students. We're also proposing to maintain non-resident international and metro undergraduate and graduate rates at our last year's level. I think it's a tuition fees and an increase. Sometimes that's the headline grabbing thing. A 2.5% increase. Universities increasing. It's important to note that the average net price for Marshall University is substantially below all of our competitors. Our competitors and our peers being the Southern Regional Education Board, our Carnegie R2 research peers, and even the state of West Virginia. We continue to maintain the lowest average net price against all of our peers. But even more importantly than that, even with a 2.5% increase next year, our college graduates and Marshall University graduates continue to see a great return on their investment. So using those same peer groups, Southern Regional Education Board, the R2 Carnegie Research Institutions, and the state of West Virginia, a Marshall University graduate has a greater return on their investment than all of our peers in those categories. So instead of the 2.5% increase, we need to make sure everyone understands the value of a Marshall University degree.
Thank you. So the committee did approve this for recommendation to the board for approval.
Thank you. And I think it should be noted 2.5% is below the rate of inflation as well. So, okay, any questions for Matt? I will entertain a motion and the resolution, motion in regard to resolution of approving the fiscal year 2026, 2027 tuition and fee rates. Motion amongst the board. So moved by Kathy Eddy. Is there a second? Second by Kathy D'Antoni. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Like sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
On behalf of the committee, I just wanted to give Matt, President Smith, and the entire cabinet our sincere thanks for the presentation on Monday, and also to the committee this morning. So thank you to the team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Brandy Jenkins Jones, Senior Vice President of Operations.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. The resolution that is before you is consideration of reallocations of funds that were originally set for projects that are a part of our deferred maintenance grant program, also known as Shock and Awe. To date, we have invoiced and received over $18.5 million towards our projects. We still have a remaining $3.4 million to draw down over the next couple of months. But what we are seeking for is assistance with 4 projects. We are looking to transfer $60,000 to finish out our campus building fire alarm system upgrades. We are also seeking another $125,000 transfer for completed projects to finish out our elevator modernization projects that we have here on campus. We are also seeking an additional $80,000 to finish out the Henderson Center concrete work. And if you attended the basketball game on Saturday, you saw the forms there addressing those stairs that plagued us over the winter season. And then also we are seeking an additional $140,250 transfer to finish out the replacement of interior doors at the Jones C. Edwards Playhouse.
Any questions?
This was also a recommendation to the board from the committee for approval.
Do we have a motion to approve what's versus going through all those paragraphs again, all those basically reallocating and adding based on what she said? And we've done this several times before. So, motion by Bishop Moore, is there a second? By Ms. Dundee on. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Randy also had an informational update, facilities and operations, so I just, rather than run her back up here, I thought maybe she'd just do it right now.
Just as we've shared, we are completing our final projects for the Deferred Maintenance Grant Program. We are seeking to have those substantially completed by the end of this fiscal year with all paperwork submitted to the state. So we are pleased with the progress that's being made. Again, it's the credit of our facilities and operations team and our planning construction team and the business managers and their meticulous record keeping, because it is quite detailed, but we're really pleased with the success of the projects. Also, just excited, May 19th through the 22nd, we'll kick off our 5th annual community care. As you can tell, the president is already ready. The volunteer sign up is live, so if you're not yet signed up, please do so. May 19th, that Tuesday through May 22nd. So not only will we provide opportunities here on main campus, on the grounds and our buildings and our athletic facilities, but we also will be at our satellite campuses, Mid-Ohio Valley campus and Point Pleasant, as well as South Charleston campus. Also the School of Medicine and Marshall Health, we will be doing some things here in town. And so we just ask you to give of yourself 2.5 hours, 5 hours, you name it, we will take your time and put you to work. Last year, we generated over $65,000 in sweat equity. We seek to exceed over 1,000 volunteers this year. We're looking for a 5% increase in that. So we need your help and assistance in doing that. So
What's the website?
marshall.edu/cares, CARES.
Beautiful weather.
It will be. It will be. And we always love to keep our chiropractors in business too. So they'll be moving some rock, and you'll have to see Travis Bailey about that. Thank you.
Thank you.
6-ton again.
David, we have another approval item, property purchase. And so even though the agenda says Tony Stroud, this is not Tony, but I'm going to let him introduce himself and update us on the project.
Just going to start answering to the name, not Tony. I'm Eric Legg. I'm the Assistant General Counsel, standing in, a poor substitute for Tony, but I'll do the best I can. Subject to obtaining grant funding, the plan is for the Advanced Manufacturing Marshall to build a new advanced manufacturing center on a lot as part of the old ACF property. We have to have an option contract in place as we pursue the grant funding, which that pursuit is underway. So the idea here is the project is contingent on successfully obtaining the grant funding. No university dollars are going to be used for this purpose. But what we need to do now is ask the board, and it's been presented to the committee, to ask the board to approve for us to enter into this option contract so that when we get the funding, we can purchase from the city of Huntington the property. This, for the board members, is the item that was replaced and updated yesterday in your board packets. The original board packet had some language that was confusing, and there was a photo there that caused people to think this was about the Sawtooth building. It is not. It is a piece of property that is adjacent to the Sawtooth building. So with those clarifications.
And the committee move that we move this to the board to be approved.
Now, are there any questions for Eric? I'll read the recommended resolution and entertain a motion. Resolved that the Marshall University Board of Governors approves the purchase of property located in the Huntington-Gideon District, previously the site of ACF Industries. The Board of Governors authorize the president to execute any documentation necessary to effectuate the purchase of said property. Is there a motion there too? Second. We have a motion. Is there a second? Second by Kathy Eddy. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Not Timmy signing off.
There you go.
We have
If you tell me what effectuate means, I'll do it.
And the board hasn't heard from Gary for a while, so I'm asking Gary to just give us a brief update on it.
I'm Barry Chapin, and I'm not Tony Stroud. I'm somebody totally different. In internal audit, since the last meeting, really 3 things have gone on. One is I participated in some advisory services with the foundation on some small items. Also did some work with our accounting department to prepare for the upcoming audit and some of our tracking of revenue collections. And lastly, monitor the whistleblower hotline for the university, from which there were no significant issues to arise out of this since the last meeting. Planned activities before the next meeting, obviously continue monitoring the whistleblower hotline. Begin work for year end, and it's really just starting the process of preparing schedules and making sure everybody knows what's going on and getting things ready for the auditors to arrive when they usually come here right after Labor Day. Lastly, I'll adhere to the annual audit plan, looking at general items and taking questions from departments and doing things as they come up. Lastly, I always pledge to the board to stay current and know what's going on, and I participated in one webinar, the Association of College and University Auditors, on fraud risk fundamentals. Really, it was more of just a refresher course for me, but there is the one new item that's coming up in a lot of places, and that is what AI, the role it plays in fraud. Fraudsters are tricky enough, but now they have tools to help them be tricky. So it's just watching out for things and trying to do our best to stay ahead of people. Madam Chairman, that concludes my report.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I think that concludes the.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We will now move to the Athletics Committee and Jim Smith as chair.
Thank you very much. Sorry I couldn't be there in person. Particularly sorry because I missed the most encouraging athletic committee meeting that we've had since I've been associated with the board. I'll ask our athletic director, Gerald Harrison, to hit the highlights of that. And at the end of his presentation, we will need a resolution to approve the athletic department budget for next year. So over to you, Gerald.
I appreciate it, Chairman. The first thing I thought, I had 2 thoughts before I start. One, I really appreciate all the hard work you're doing with cancer, especially in the area of chemotherapy. As a survivor myself and a person who had to go through chemotherapy, to see some of the work done at an institution that I work at is heartfelt. So I really appreciate all you've done, and you really deserve another round of applause. The other part was the exact opposite. I was trying to figure out which department was responsible for the hammocks. Because while I was sitting over here, I see the students on these hammocks, and they are having a great time, and I kind of wished I was there. So we might have to try to get some of those put into Joan for a summer day. But it is, again, a great day to run with the herd, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with the board. There's a lot of great things going on. Our focus was on revenue generation, the budget, and really pillar 3 of our plan on the page. We started off, though, as always, because our focus is student athletes. And so we started off with our herd spotlight, with Bryce Blevins, a baseball player on our baseball team, our Friday night pitcher, who talked about why he's here and what's his passion and everything about his experience here at Marshall. So we got going there. We also love to talk about what we're doing in the community. We have a goal of every Marshall student athlete completing 15 hours of community service to somewhere in our community. Right now, we're at 4,122 hours of community service. So we're 67% toward our goal. And once Coach Gibson in football gets done with spring practice, we'll get over that number pretty quickly. And so we're really, really excited about that, because I truly believe that if we want the community to serve us, we got to serve the community. And so we got to get out there and get going. So we're really excited about that. From a winter highlight standpoint, our men's basketball team was the second seed in the Sun Belt, competed really hard, proud of what they did, but can't say enough about our women's basketball NIT championship team. Early today, doing an athletic committee meeting, I had the trophy here, but I didn't really think that Chairman Shields would appreciate looking at the back of the trophy during this meeting. But anytime you can get 5,400 people in the CAM Center supporting women's basketball and really bringing the spirit of Marshall to the gym, it was awesome. If you had a chance to be in attendance, I saw many of you there, and we look forward to keeping that momentum as we go forward from here. Beyond that, we look at swimming and diving. We had Lauren McNamara win the American Conference Championship in the 200 meter. We had Elise finish as a medalist. She finished third in a 100 meter. Our track field, we got a Sun Belt champion in there as well. That was really cool. In the long jump, something I would never do. We had 5 other people also, student athletes also gained medals. So we have had a really exciting winter. Now we're on into the spring with a lot of things going on. Tennis is competing, golfs are competing. It's fun. Baseball today is up north. We won't say where that is, but y'all can guess. They're up north, and boy, our softball team under Coach Zirkle is really doing it. 29-10, 10-2 overall in the conference. Beat an Atlantic Coast Conference team yesterday, 8-0. Ruled them over at the dot, and well on our way. We are in the top 25 in the country from an RPI standpoint in softball, and number 5 in the mid-major rankings. So we're really excited at where they're going. So moving on, we were really talking a lot about our Herd Hospitality and Entertainment Group. And we started looking at ways. We often talk about how we're going to generate new revenue, new excitement around our programs. And the great thing, since we established this group, things are really working out well for us. If you look at women's basketball, these numbers are prior to the NIT tournament. 39% increase in tickets for women's basketball. An increase of almost 180 folks on average per game in women's basketball. Men's basketball, 15% increase in ticket sales, 4% increase in attendance. Baseball right now, we have not even got done through the season, all of our home series, because we're backloaded, but we've already surpassed last year's season ticket number, and our current attendance is over 120 more than last year. So things are trending in the right direction for the Herd. We launched herdhotels.com. So anytime that you want to go on a vacation, not just here in Huntington, anywhere you go, if you go through herdhotels.com, 50% of the revenue will come to Marshall Athletics. And that will be another way and another revenue stream for us. We expect that the first year to be around $25,000. Every bit of it counts, and we want more. So it doesn't matter. I think one thing I want to make clearer than we may have done in the committee meeting, it doesn't matter where you're going. Anytime you book a hotel, if you want to help Marshall, go into herdhotels.com. So that's great. We got that going on. Plenty of ticket purchasing ideas underway. We've decided that we're really going to try to ramp up how we raise money through our ticket process as well. So when a person goes to buy tickets at herdzone.com, there's also a place right on the same page that says, do you want to donate to the Big Green and to the annual fund? Beyond that, we got a roundup option. Just like if you go into the grocery store or you go to some restaurants and your bill is $9.10. Well, that wouldn't be in the grocery store. That'd be $200 right now. But that would be whatever that is. If there's any change, round up, that money comes back to Marshall Athletics as well, and allowing us to support events and things that we got going on to support our student athletes. We're really big right now in renting out our facilities. Somebody will have the lights on in our buildings. We've already got 10 different events booked at Dutch Miller Deck for this spring, generating additional revenue, anything from baby showers to wedding receptions on. So anybody who wants to, or if anybody wants to redo your vows or something, come on, we got it. We'll take your money and rent you a facility. If you got enough money, we'll make sure Coach Gibson sings for you. But there's so many different things that we're trying to do to improve our situation. And the more money we raise and the more creative and innovative ideas we have, the closer we get to our goal of a 50-50 from a university support standpoint. And we're really working toward that goal. There's a lot of different fan experience enhancements. I talk about that often that we got going on. One thing that we always hear is about our concession stands. We've been fortunate to work with Sodexo and some of our partners where we'll now offer hot foods in the stadium this season. So you'll be able to get chicken tenders and fries and things like that we haven't done at the stadium. And also Chick-fil-A will be in the stadium as well. We've created new pricing for families. So we have concession stand areas that'll be located in the family zone. I can't remember the section exactly that is right now, but it'll be highly marked. The family zone where everyone can come in who buys their tickets at a family price. $99 for the family. You get in the family zone, and then the concession prices are anywhere between $2 and $3 reduced from every other concession stand in the stadium if you go there. So we're really, really excited about that because a part of our plan is to go after the families here. How do we create the next generation of Herd fans? We get those young families in now, and they raise them up like you want them to go. And so that's one thing we want to do is wear Kelly green and white and enjoy coming to our sport venue. From a season ticket renewal strategy, we are getting after the folks that have always had tickets from a football standpoint and going after them. There's over 2,000 folks that have season tickets, 7,000 tickets involved. We got to get all of them back. We can't afford to lose any of those, and we're trying to get those. And the ones that we have lost in the past, we're on a reclamation project, and we're going out, we're calling, and we're getting after them to try to get them back and talk about the new things that we have in the zone. Also try to learn what was the reason they did not renew their tickets. We feel like we placed people at where they are. We understand the social economical situation here in our area. So we're trying to meet people and have events for everybody of every price point. And so we can get the most people possible in the zone and in all of our facilities. A couple things that we're also incorporating, Saturday Pass. We looked at people who had just tickets for football, and we're saying, okay, you obviously love coming to campus on a Saturday. So now if you keep coming to campus on Saturday, we got a discounted rate for you. So if you come to basketball on Saturday, you can get tickets for that. You can go ahead and buy tickets for baseball on Saturday. Anything that we ticket that happens on a Saturday, you can buy in one lump price and get that Saturday pass. So those are another opportunities that we're really excited about. Beyond that, one thing that we're really proud of, and we did it at a previous institution, Aisha and I talked about it, it's really her brainchild, so I'm gonna give her credit, where we get into the elementary schools. And what we want to do, every elementary school has a welcome back. You come in, you meet your teachers, and then throughout the year, they put a piece of paper, they put your grades and your reports, all that stuff, and they send home. But we want to make sure we provide the folder that they do it. So now every school in Cabell County, and we're looking at expansion already from the conversation from our committee meeting this morning, but every student will get a Kelly Green folder, Marshall folder. And inside there'll be a QR code that their parents can click on. They will have all the events that are going on at Marshall and Marshall Athletics to try to get them in. But every day they go home, they're going to have something Kelly Green. And those reports, go on Friday. They go home on Friday. What is Friday? Kelly Green Friday. So it's a constant thing. We want the kids to aggravate their parents at home that we want to go run with the herd. And so we're working on that. And there's a lot of different opportunities. And honestly, it came up this morning. Kathy D'Antoni's done a lot with the phrase and the Herd book program, Running with the Herd, and has brought a number of students to our campus from a variety of places. And this will be something that we can use to add on to that and learn from the legacy that she started. So we appreciate that, and we look forward to expanding that program as well. We've also partnered with Youth Nation, which allows us to get more students involved. Your young person plays sports in our areas. They will have opportunities to come to campus, and we get to market with them as well, because they get yard signs. They say they're participating in Youth Nation camps, magazines, so on. Guess what? Now it will have Marshall on it, and it will also be involved, and we partner with them for multiple events through the year. So that's the fun part. The other part, budget. Obviously, we're going to talk about our budget. We went through that extensively. The great thing is at this point, our expenses are lower than in the past year. We're making progress toward our 50-50. Right now, if we goes the way with the budget, we'll be around 53, and we're keeping working our way down. And so it's a slow, steady climb as we work through the challenges of intercollegiate athletics right now. But with the new revenue streams and everything we hope that number continues to get down, and we can show, as Brad would say, we can show everybody how to do this thing. And there's a way that the academy and athletics can work together without ending up like some of these institutions in significant debt from an athletic standpoint. And we can do this and win championships. And I'm committed to that goal here at Marshall. So we're on that standpoint. The Big Green's goal of $33.1 million, we're doing well. 74% there. Got to say a lot about what they're doing and not being afraid to reinvent themselves. Another thing that we're doing is I'm working closer with Nico and the foundation as well, as we try to bring some of this stuff together. We've been running parallel streets. Back where I'm from, we were running 20 and Huff Mile Road because both of those run the same. But Interstate 20 will be the foundation that's going much faster than what we got going on right now. And so we're gonna join them on this path and work together. And I'm really excited about the conversations we're having as we work together to really support Marshall athletics in this process. I'll close with a couple things. Facilities projects. One, we have started the project to redo the stadium lights in the Joan. That was one of our priorities when I got here. It's a very aging system. It's the original lights. And it's beyond, by far. Dixon Electric let us know they've been doing our lights for about 10 years, that there's no more fixing. So what you got is what you got, and what we have is not good enough to do what we need to do. And people think it's just about wanting lights, and they see the flashy lights. That's not what this is. This process will help us when we look at the revenue generation stuff. And numbers show we have a highest at Marshall the last 5 years. We play in the evening time. We have a higher attendance by several thousand. Our concession stands rate between 20 and 40% more sales during, depending on what time the game is. And so we look to recognize about $136,000 per game if we can play in the evening. And to do that, we got to have better lights that are good enough for ESPN, that are safe for our student athletes. And so we're on that. And so that's been helped by private funding that's coming through the Big Green. And we're really excited about that. And that was priority one on my list. Priority two was the indoor field at Decline, where all of our student athletes, with the exception of swimming and diving and golf, really use that at some point in time, specifically track and field, football, baseball, and softball. So we need to do something about that. It's an aging field. And so we found a private donor that has graciously decided in the last week to fund that entire project. And so we replaced that field over the summer, and we could not be more excited. So that's 1 and 2 down on that list that President Smith and I talked about earlier, facility needs, and we're going to keep grinding. So that's my report. And yes, sir.
Gerald, I just want to tell you that the experience at the NIT championship game was one of the best game experiences I've ever had at Marshall University. And what even more amazing than the turnout was the coordination that I've yet to see. And I want to thank you for this publicly. The dancers, dance team, cheerleaders are outstanding. It just hit me, and I tried to found out who she was. Our announcer just keeps the energy going. The band and the music director, nothing bled over each other. Everything was coordinated, and it was just, that made that experience so much better, even beyond winning and even beyond having that crowd there. And it's just, I want to see it on the football stadium now, but I've seen it, I've experienced it, and I thank you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. It was an outstanding atmosphere, and I got to give a lot of credit to Ryan Crisp, who oversees that, our associate director of athletics, who oversees our external stuff. Did a great job coordinating all of that. He had the headset on upstairs doing the work, coordinating with everybody, and it worked really well. And so, but it all works together when we come together. We say we heard together, and so everybody heard it. We heard together for that championship. I'm gonna get kicked out of a university because I used the word heard it.
That's what you're saying. You're gonna have to effectuate.
Best friends.
You and me together.
Hey man, we're in there, you know.
Well, thank you for that, Mr. Harrison. It was fantastic, and there was even more energy in the committee meeting. Before I call for a motion to approve the budget, I would point out that we did go through the budget in detail today at the committee, and the budget for the athletic department was part of the 3-hour deep dive that we did on Monday as well. So I do think we need a motion to approve the athletic department budget.
Have a motion to approve the athletic department.
I'll move.
Got moved by Bill Smith.
Second.
Second by Angel Moore. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and that concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it. Okay. Now we are moving to the president's.
All right.
I think that's where we are.
Well, those are some difficult acts to follow. Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Board of Governors. Good afternoon, my friends, all those from the campus that are here with us this afternoon as well. As we've shared in our regular monthly reports, the external environment remains dynamic. It remains unpredictable. Across the country, universities are navigating shifting demographics, policy changes, financial pressures, and evolving expectations around the role of higher education in society in general. To quote an American author, one of my favorite, Joan Chittister, she says that the purpose of leadership is not just to make the present bearable, it's to make the future possible. That's what we're trying to do here at Marshall University, and it's at moments like this that mission matters most. And what gives me confidence is that we remain steadfast in our vision to inspire learning and creativity that ignites the mind, it nurtures the spirit, and it fulfills that promise for a better future. Our faculty are laser focused. It was an amazing update from our chair of the Faculty Senate, Sean Schulenberg. They're committed to teaching, scholarship, service, and that moral compass that we want to have every single student experience at Marshall University. Our staff are creating an environment of support and agility that advances that shared mission. And our students, Connor's a wonderful example, and all of his peers, they set the example through their effort, through their talent, and through their grit. And together we are a community grounded in purpose. We are a university that continues to move forward with clarity of who we are and what we stand for. And they say in my family, back in Wayne County, down in Canova, that character is revealed in times of adversity. And I like the character I see on display at Marshall University right now. So with that context, surprise, surprise, I want to provide 3 updates today. The first is an update on the recent legislative session and what it means for Marshall University. The second is I want to summarize the progress we've made in advancing our impact and our financial performance. And finally, a brief update on Listening Tour 2.0. We now have 18 of the 30 listening sessions completed on campus, and I want to share how that work's going to inform an upcoming strategy refresh in the summer. So let me begin with the legislative session. I know many of us have been tracking this closely, and it's been a little bit of time since it closed up, but the 60-day legislative session concluded. It was very active. During the session, lawmakers in the state introduced 2,777 bills. 303 of those ultimately completed legislative action. Of that number, 57 directly related to higher education, and 9 were ultimately enacted into law. Overall, I would tell you it was a very positive session for Marshall University, and credit goes to our government relations team, as well as everyone on campus who actively participated in helping our legislators see the opportunity that we see ahead for the state. First big implication, the budget. The lawmakers fully implemented the higher education funding formula. This was an exciting piece of news. It's something we co-authored together with the state several years ago, and it was exciting to see that come to fruition. In doing that, they also supported the governor's proposed 3% pay raise for state employees, which, as you heard from Matt Tidd, translates to about $2.2 million for Marshall University. This was excellent news. Matt and the finance team has worked with our shared governance group, the Budget Advisory Committee, and the implications of that is that we've actually figured out how we're going to allocate that money in a very favorable way so that all of our employees are seeing an impact in their paycheck. Our baseline budgets, we moved to the incentivized budget model, so every college, every department now has their budget. We had planned for two scenarios. One was a fully funded performance-based funding formula, and the other was a potential 2% reduction, which was also being discussed. The good news is we got the funding formula approved. In that budget, we're also going to pass through this pay increase. We're going to use a progressive scale. Think of it like an income tax bracket where you actually pay a little bit more. In this case, you get a little bit less the higher you make, and the lower you make, you're going to get more, because we want to make sure that all employees at Marshall University are seeing an impact in their paycheck. As Matt said, in addition to that $2.2 million from the state, our campus found $550,000 through Save to Serve, cutting back on supplies and other services. And the serve part of that is we're putting it right back into their paycheck. And so now I'm proud to tell you we had committed in 23 that by 2027 fiscal year, which means this July, we would have every employee on campus paid at market rates. And we are now finally able to say we have achieved that outcome. In addition to these two budget elements, as you heard, the legislature approved $30 million for a new School of Medicine building. That matches the $31.8 million that was secured through Senator Shelley Moore Capito. That's 2/3 of the funding stack, as Dean Gazal described. And also, last but not least, Marshall also received a 4th year of funding for the West Virginia Grant Resource Center. This is where our grant writers at Marshall and WVU help all 55 counties write grants to secure money so they can get their projects done in their local communities. Over the last 3 years, they have found over $53 million for our 55 counties. And once again, the legislature stood up and said, we're going to support that once again. So I want to thank everyone, faculty, staff, students, Board of Governors, and our government relations team for making all of that possible and helping position our state for an exciting new chapter. I'll transition to my second topic, the progress we're making in advancing our strategic impact and our financial performance. A lot of this is repetitive because I'm batting cleanup here, but repetition doesn't ruin the prayer, so hang in there with me. We know higher ed's navigating a period of reinvention and disruption. We talk about demographics, digital, and doubt. In fiscal year 23, we saw these things coming, and as a campus community, as Sean Schulenberg described, we put our arms around each other and said we're going to write a plan together. That plan is Marshall for all, Marshall forever. Our value proposition is we want to be the most affordable, flexible, and lifetime achievement-oriented education institution in the country. We grounded ourselves in our vision and our creed, that is the soil of our garden, and we set aspirational goals for 2037, that every student would graduate here with an opportunity to pursue their career and no debt. We would increase our research to $150 million. We would increase jobs in our community 3x, and we would increase the return on investment the state puts into us from what is currently 18x to 30x. Very bold goals, but we're making progress every single day. We've been executing this transition in 3 phases. The first was to optimize our current financial sustainability. The second was to transform by adopting best practices that others have proven to work. And the third was to become the use case, the case study for the rest of the world to come and say, I want to do it the way Marshall does it. And our 3-year plan was to reduce a structural deficit of $28 million, which we had in 23, and to get out of that structural deficit and turn back to a net positive in calendar year 27. You've heard our enduring financial principles, so I'm going to quickly talk about what we've done to get to that element at this point. We have grown students, not fees, increased enrollment 22%, while only raising tuition slightly below inflation. We've been able to invest in our team. We've now gotten our team up to market levels while continuing to invest in their ability to do research and service. We have taken care of the house, whether it was using the shock and awe money that we got from the state to make some amazing improvements on campus, to the over 1,000 people who come every single year and do community cares. And last but not least, we have hit the point on the financial side where our structural deficit has been cut from 28 million to 2.9 million as we sit here, and we believe we can be cash flow and positive on the structural deficit in the calendar year 2027. So those are exciting things, which takes me to my final topic. Last week, we passed the halfway point of the 30 listening tour session, or 30 session listening tour. I'll get that right. These conversations have been incredible. They've been thoughtful. They've been candid. They have absolutely opened my eyes to things that you would think I would see, but now I have the chance to see with a fresh perspective. It's an active engagement that reinforces how engaged our campus is. Everyone cares about why we're here, who we serve, and what we want to be. And as we complete the second half, we're going to take all of this input and we're going to complement it with an external view. We're going to focus on the implications of AI. AI brings promise, it brings peril, but we have a moral responsibility to have a pragmatic path to navigate through that reality. We want to prepare ourselves and our students to be ready for that. So we have actually formed a partnership with Paul LeBlanc. Paul LeBlanc was a 21-year president of Southern New Hampshire University. He led that university through a transformation in technology at the time. He retired in 2024. For the last 2 years, he's worked with the Gates Foundation to go around the world and study the implications of AI on how it's changing how students want to learn and how educational systems need to adapt and evolve to be able to meet the student where they are. And I'm excited to say he's written a book. He sent the book to me. I pre-read it. I sent it around to the cabinet and said, wow, this is going to be a must read for all of us. So we're going to purchase a copy for everyone that's in a leadership position on campus. And then he's going to come with us this summer and facilitate a strategy workshop. And that strategy workshop will include our deans, our chairs, the heads of the 5 families, our AI task force, the cabinet, and yes, the board of governors. And we're going to take all the listening session input from campus, plus all the external input that he's gathered from around the world on AI, and we're going to refresh our Marshall for All, Marshall Forever plan on a page. So we will be up on our toes, leaning into the future and doing what people have always expected Marshall University to do, which is to lead the way. So I'm going to wrap up by saying that it is a privilege. It is a privilege to be on this campus right now. It's a privilege to be able to say that in FY23, we told us we wanted to be here by FY27, and we are checking those boxes. We are not resting on any laurels because we have a lot of work ahead of us. This campus is leaning in, and this summer is going to be an exciting time for us. I am so excited to have heard everything you heard today from all the committees, because everyone on this campus is doing amazing work. Our students, our faculty, our staff, and our board of governors. So God bless you. Go Herd. Marshall for all. Marshall forever. I think I may have misspoke earlier. His ties were my favorite presentation. Mine is the provost.
I will defer.
All righty. So now we will move into an executive session to discuss commercial competition matters and personnel matters. So I will entertain a motion to enter into executive session under the authority of West Virginia Code 6-9A-4. There a motion there too? Moved by Bill Smith. Is there a second? Kathy D'Antoni. I forget to look on the video board, so I apologize if some are making motions on the video. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Got to wait.
Aye.
Motion carries. We will go into executive session. we're back in regular session. I will note no action was taken in executive session. Just short, I know you guys spent a lot of time. Again, thank you. I really mean it. You've spent a lot of time, energy in these board meetings the last month or so, and I thank you for all your work and your thought partnering and decision making. So really appreciate that. A couple announcements: fountain ceremony, spring fountain ceremony, 11:30, I believe, this Saturday. Hopefully it's going to be a beautiful sunny day and the fountain will come back on the spring game at 3:00. We do have the women's basketball banquet is at 1:00 Sunday.
Like Sunday at the Vandalia, I said.
Yeah. So that's another important event, and there's a lot of important events going on this weekend, including Marshall's baseball teams having a weekend series. Very important event between now and the next board meeting is the spring commencement, May the 9th. So it'll be another packed house. I'm sure the air conditioning will be working in there. It's we're in heat lamps. We're in the robes there. This ceremony, but it's a fantastic ceremony. The group does a great job planning it every year, and it's a great day. So if you can make it, it's meaningful. Our next meeting is in June, a couple of months. So between now and then, I'll be forming a nominating committee to nominate a slate of officers for the next year, so we can vote on that in the June meeting. And I'll talk to you if you have any interest in serving in any capacity on the executive committee. Please let me know, and I'll try to reach out to each and every one of you, including the ones I always. And I apologize to the ones that are attending remotely because I don't look up and address them. You as well, everyone attending virtually as well. And that's all I have. So I'll try to get you out as fast as we can. But having said that, if you have any comments, anything more to come before the board, I'm open to hear. So, all right, hearing none, well, this meeting's